Well, the Kalashnikov assault rifle is world famous and still widely used. Let's find out more about it and ask Michael Vlahos. He's an ex-CIA and Navy officer, professor, joining us live from Washington, D.C. Now, Mikhail Kalashnikov is arguably the most recognized weapons designer in history. In your view, how do Americans see him?
Americans of discernment understand that this was indeed a revolutionary weapon. So in many ways, in terms of the gift, if you will, of Soviet civilization, if we can talk about Soviet civilization, and I believe we can, the great gift in many ways that came out of the Great Patriotic War was Kalashnikov's weapon. And we should really see it less as a weapon than as an instrument of insurgency and liberation. I mean, the power of the weapon is, as you have said, in its robustness and its simplicity. I have field stripped and fired every modern weapon in the European and American arsenals. And the easiest one to love is the AK-47. You just pop the cover, pop the spring, pop the rod, out comes the bolt, and there it is. It's the easiest modern weapon to strip short of an old bolt-action rifle. It is amazing. Anyone can shoot it. And it has been embraced by oppressed peoples everywhere. And this is, frankly, and I think Americans should realize, a Soviet legacy, and a great one, because many of the oppressed colonial peoples throughout the world use the AK to find their freedom.
Sure, embraced by oppressed people, but also used as a weapon against US troops in conflicts from Korea to Iraq.
Oh, no doubt. But I mean, the U.S. was engaged in supporting many colonial counterinsurgency efforts. There's no getting around that. And the U.S. Is well aware of that today. I mean, the main point I'm making here is that this was, let's just say that the AK-47 was the instrumentality that helped actualize a new human consciousness after 1945, which was a consciousness focused on liberation and on freedom. And the AK-47 was a big part of it. Now, of course, it's engaged also in terrible criminal activities and oppression of many regimes around the world. But in fact, it will be remembered for having been the agency of liberation.
And yet it's still...
And that's why it's on, say, the flag of Mozambique.
Sure, and yet it still pained him when he knew that child soldiers and terrorists did use it. It was a burden that he had to bear.
Well, he did, because there was a unique consciousness in the Soviet Union during the Great Patriotic War, and the terrific sufferings of the Russian and other Soviet peoples in that war was beyond enormous. It's almost unthinkable today to lose 28 million people. And so out of that horror came his creative innovation. And what he was able to do is take a very unworkable German design, the Sturmgeschütz 43, and make it into the universal weapon it is today.
And you say, as it is today, it's still in demand in, for example, the US, or perhaps will it be superseded by another rifle, particularly in this age of modern technology?
Well, supersession is hard, because we have to talk in terms of specific environmental conditions in so much of the world where you have insurgency. For any modern military, it's an antique weapon and rather unworkable today in the context of modern military operations. But for an insurgency, it's the ideal weapon, and it remains so after, 70 years. And the Soviet Union gave the primitive world, if you will, the undeveloped world, the world struggling to be free, it gave it two important instruments. One was the AK-47, and the other was the RPG-7. And together, an insurgent group that has AK-47s and RPG-7s can mount an effective insurgency even against modern militaries. And the power of these weapons, which many in the West would regard as primitive, is belied by the fact that they've been so successful. And the AK-47 has gone a long way to demonstrating that even an infantry weapon, a personal firearm, which was thought to be obsolete in the context of modern warfare 50 years ago, is now a decisive instrument again, and has been for many years and many years into the future, because it is able to actualize the struggles of groups who are resistant, who are yearning to be free. I hate to say it, but it's true.
Well, really interesting to get your point of view on this. Thank you very much indeed, Professor Michael Vlahos from the US Naval War College. Thanks for being with us on RT International.